So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I think we'll begin because other people can join later. If you've got any questions as we go along, feel free to type them into the chat and we'll go through them a bit later. Um, I'm delighted today to have Kevin joining us from California. Kevin, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, great. So, just to introduce ourselves very quickly, I'm Jonathan Whitehouse. I'm based in Hong Kong. I look after global recruitment for University Bridge. My background is long and boring. I'm sure everyone's heard it many times before. But yeah, I originally graduated from the UK, but I've done a course in the US at UC Irvine online. And I'm quite familiar with international education. And now the US is my focus, which is fantastic because we see people having the opportunity to upgrade their options in the US, perhaps more than other countries. Um, and today, I'm delighted to welcome one of our star students this year, Kevin. Kevin's just in year one at College of San Mateo. Kevin, I'll let you introduce yourself. I love that photograph. Tell us more about that
Yeah.
photograph. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Kevin and yeah, it's my first year at CSM. And that photograph's actually pretty old, like a couple years ago when I was in Mongolia. And yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
So yeah.
Kevin, you've just finished year one and
hmm
you're just beginning year two.
hmm
Okay, great. And Kevin's at College of San Mateo. We will talk more to Kevin in a few minutes. I'll first of all do a quick introduction about University Bridge. I've got a few updates to share, and then after that, I will discuss some questions with Kevin. So, Kevin, thank you for joining us all the way from California because you must be having the jet lag and the time zone, but at least the time is not too bad your way now. It's not
hmm
like sort of the middle of the night or something. So, thank you. Okay,
Yeah, no problem.
go forwards. Okay. So University Bridge is, I think everyone knows, is a 2+2 program. We offer one-on-one support with an elite advisor. So Kevin is currently working with our advisor in College of San Mateo, Michelle, and we'll say more about that later. And the goal of every student is to get them into top universities. So UCLA, UC Berkeley for most of our students is the goal. Some students do aim for universities outside the state, which are obviously competitive admissions, but those are not guaranteed. But most people focus on California as the core and then try to do other options as well. Um, the guarantees work to five of the top 50 at the moment. So in Virginia, there's University of Virginia, Virginia Tech, and in California, there's UC Davis, UC Irvine, UC Santa Barbara. The GPA requirements are around 3.4 generally. Some of them are slightly different, but that's about the right requirements depending on the major. Transfer admissions guarantee. I still get lots of people who don't understand this. A lot of people, I was trying to explain to a parent recently in Mongolia about the differences, and they thought it was like the UK. They kept saying, "Oh, how does that work? It's a guarantee." Guarantees, everybody always needs to bear in mind with a guarantee that there are some sub clauses and you need to get the right credits for your major. So things like computer science are no longer part of tag. We'll say more on that later, but that's kind of something you've got to bear in mind. And you do need to have 30 credits to apply for the transfer admissions guarantee. I have come across students before who don't understand why they didn't get tag and they had 28 credits. So you need to have the 30 credits to apply for that. So this is the map of where University Bridge operates. Kevin joins us from College of San Mateo, which is very near San Francisco. We've just added a new partner, which is called Shoreline in Seattle. So Shoreline in Seattle is slightly different to the existing centers in that students can come from 16 and they can do high school completion and credits at the same time. That's the plus about it. The minus about it is there is not the same guarantees as there is in California. So you don't get UC Irvine, UC Davis, UC Santa guarantee, but you do get some very good options and you do save some time. You do get a high school diploma, so you can do credits and high school diploma at the same time. We'll do more training on that later. And then we also work obviously with College of Marin, which is not far from College of San Mateo, Santa Monica, Irvine, and PVCC in Virginia. We do still offer online program. Lots of people contact me yesterday and want to apply for August this year. I told them you better start online because you probably can't get the visa on time, unfortunately. The online program is quite convenient because you can do it in your home. So it does serve a very useful purpose, and the credits are the same. When I tell people the credits are the same, they still don't believe me, but it's true. It's fully recognized. Results. The most recent set of results, just to share, very good results this year. The students in 2024, 75% got into the top 30, which is probably our best ever result for the top 30. And we got one student got an offer from Columbia, and multiple students have been accepted to other elite universities, some of them outside the states. So, for example, University of Michigan, Boston University, to name a few. 83% of students got into the top 50 and 88% got into the UC system, which I think we can agree is very good. Some people actually didn't want to go to the UC system. So that partly explains that. Admissions rates to different centers, obviously UCLA, UC Berkeley are extremely competitive. So we got 34% to UCLA, 33% to Berkeley. The statistics are much higher for the others because a lot of students apply for TAG for UC Irvine, for example. But it is very competitive. I think the results are very, very good this year. UCLA and UC Berkeley is extremely competitive. So University Bridges College Care is well known. We give academic support, cultural support, and transfer assistance equally importantly. So these are the lovely advisors who operate across the different centers. We've got the biggest team we've got is in Santa Monica, where we've got 4 advisors at the moment. Most of the advisors have been through the community college system, and they've actually graduated from elite universities like UCLA. So Kevin's advisor, for example, is a UCLA graduate. So challenges. I get this all the time. Parents and students, mostly fathers, like myself, they will ask why do we not just go to a community college directly and not use University Bridge? There's lots of reasons why. To summarize in a few words, first of all, the hardest thing is to navigate the system, if I'm honest. I don't think the US system is simple. It does require a lot of work to understand the system. And then you need to arrange a lot of things. You need to be really on the ball. Good examples are many students finish 2 years in community colleges in the US, in California, and also in other states, and they end up not having enough credits to transfer because they have under 60 credits. That's quite common. And also, a lot of people don't register for classes on time, and a lot of people have messed up study plans because it's very hard in community colleges to make appointments with advisors and see them very often. The University Bridge advisors are very accessible and very supportive, so you'd have a lot more help with class arrangement, with anything you're struggling with to help you. And profile building is also very important. You really need someone there to support you. Even American students in community colleges need support. So we do a smooth transition. We cover pre-departure briefings. We try and make it so when people arrive, they're well set up. If people apply early, it makes life much easier. I've said that before. I'll say it again so everyone can hear that clearly. But we do our best. We do have things set up for you when you arrive. You can have things like accommodation, airport pickup. For the first year, this is quite important. Some students for the second year will live outside, and that's fine. And we arrange for you to meet the other students in the first week. We normally do a welcome lunch or something like that. Each campus is slightly different. And then we do regular meetings and help with the study plan. So right now, Kevin is going into year 2 and he's preparing his transfer. So that's what the focus is when you go in the beginning of year 2, is really on the transfer. So this is some of what we do. There's regular updates, so everybody knows how things are going. And then other support, which is sort of, our advisors are available on WhatsApp, WeChat, different forms of social media. And this is some of the reports we send out. And testimonial from parents. I think in this particular case, this is a father who's from Dubai. And as he said, his son was, quote, a mess when he joined University Bridge. His son actually had a very complicated background with credits, he's actually dropped out of a university in Canada, University of Toronto, and then he did extremely well. He actually managed to transfer successfully, and he's going to go to UC San Diego in the end, was the final choice. Um, but they're very, very pleased that he did so well. And they're also in a way quite surprised that we managed to get him back on the track again. But he could not have done this without the advisor supporting him. So the star of the show today is really Kevin. So let me talk a bit more to Kevin about his background. So Kevin, tell us
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself before you joined University Bridge.
Yeah, so I was in Hong Kong for my middle school, and then I went to London for my high school. So I've been always planning to go to UK, and wasn't really like considering US as a choice. But then I had like a 2 year gap year that I had to deal with, and then during the gap year, like I found out about like the CC to UC opportunities, and that's why, yeah, and now I'm here.
Okay, great. So you actually considered the UK first in a way,
Yes, yes.
and then you shifted over to the US. Why was
Mhm.
that? You thought the US had better opportunities, or
Yeah, well, I've always liked the US more. I think it fits me better, but because I study in Hong Kong and most of like the students in Hong Kong, if you were to go to international, you were going to UK because of the IGCSE and A level. So yeah, that's why I was just kind of following it. Yeah.
okay, great, thank you. Yes, a lot of people in Hong Kong do love the UK. In fact, when
Yeah.
I talk to people, um, it's usually UK first, followed by Australia
Yeah.
and Canada.
Oh, yeah.
US is
Mhm.
probably the fourth destination, which is quite interesting because the US does suit a lot of students very well. And even the
Mhm.
system, if you look at the associate degree system, it's quite interesting that people don't consider the US. Okay, so why did you choose to join University Bridge? What made you decide this was a good choice? Because there's quite a lot of choices out there in the US, probably too many choices, and it's quite baffling.
Yeah. Yeah, so I first heard of like the CC to UC program from a friend that lives here in America. And like he told me a lot about it, and it's quite complicated like for someone new to understand it. So like I did some research and I also asked like an agency in Hong Kong, and ultimately like we decided to choose UBridge since yeah, it's the most helpful and the results are also very good.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, we meet a lot of students. I meet a lot of students, especially in Hong Kong, who do consider direct against the University Bridge pathway.
Mm.
And I sometimes meet them 2 years later, and I'm always curious about how many transfer. It always makes the news when people are very successful in community colleges, but a lot of people actually don't finish in 2 years. That's what I found. I found quite a few of those. Okay. So, what was obviously going to the US must have been a bit of a shock. Initially, what was sort of your biggest challenges?
hmm well, because I've like studied abroad on my own, like in London, so like trying to get used to the environment wasn't that big of a challenge, although there was some, differences. But I think the biggest challenge was actually getting used to the transfer system and like basically college in general, where you have to pick your own classes, you have to do your research and look at the professors. And I think the advisors helped me a lot here, where they were able to like give me a really clear plan and tell me give me like resources on where I can find more information about the classes and professors and etc. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think my observation is one of the biggest problems people sometimes have are things like accommodation as well. Some people struggle with accommodation. Um, I had a student last year who lived in an Airbnb for about like 4 weeks.
Oh,
Weeks. Uh,
yeah.
it's difficult as that's Santa Monica, not San Mateo, but it does happen sometimes. There's some areas that are difficult. So how did your what did your University Bridge advisor do to help? Obviously helping with class selection, helping with planning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, for accommodations, they also tried their best to, get involved. Like we would have some kind of like for example the curtains keeps on breaking and like their responses are really fast. Most of the times they will like send in the report in like 1 or 2 days they'll come fix it. And from like even like bigger problems to where like the sinks and like toilet and stuff. Yeah, it basically saves me a lot of time where I don't have to, deal with the maintenance team and they can just help me sort out those things out. Yeah.
That's great. I think that when you're studying, it's very busy and it's quite
Yeah.
nice to have those things sorted for you. That's what
Yeah.
University Bridge is aiming to do. We're aiming to make it easier so people can focus on the study. So the other stuff is kind of done for you, which
Mhm.
people think is very easy until they try and set up internet by themselves in the US uh,
Yeah.
uh, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, cool. Okay, obviously you've been studying College of San Mateo. You've met quite a lot of other students. So what would you say is the difference between people who under have the University Bridge support and those who don't? Obviously, some of these are American students, so we can't necessarily compare. What do you think is the difference of having an advisor?
Mhm. Yeah, I think the most important part of having an advisor is the amount of experience and data they have that's available like directly to you. For like a lot of my US friends here, they have access to certain data online, but it's not that personal. They can see the like percentage of admission and like stuff like that, but that's basically all. But with the advisors, because they personally know those students and they personally help with those students, so there's more like perspective and they know more details of, what might work and what might not. And I think that perspective is really important for you to make decisions.
Okay, great, thank you. And so, what about your study plan? Do you feel you had a clear direction? Because the study plan is very, very important because even when you join in the first year, building the
Mhm,
right classes, building the right GPA is very important.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. Because when I first joined, I want to do computer science, and they set up the path or computer science path for me, but it's not that like how do I phrase it? It's not like that framed into computer science. Whereas if I want to do something else, there's also opportunity where I can branch off to something else, which is what I'm doing now. I'm actually doing applied math right now because computer science is way too competitive and like it's just not really fair. And yeah, they helped me plan out this whole route from like computer science to applied math, which saves a lot of time and it's also really helpful.
Yeah, computer science is definitely one of most people I talk to's favorite majors, but it is
Hmm.
incredibly competitive.
Very, yeah.
It's and actually there are definitely other great subjects out there, so it's
Hmm.
definitely true. People should consider other choices. Um, Tell us about you told us a bit about your major already. Tell us a bit about the target schools and how you came up with the list with your advisor.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm doing applied math and like right now, and my target school is Berkeley and LA. Well, more Berkeley, but yeah. Yeah, so I mean my goal was to aim for as high as possible. And I talked to my advisors also about like out of state non-UC options. For example, like Georgia Tech, and they also help me, like gain more information and research on how those application works because it's different from the in-state ones. And yeah,
Okay, so your first choice is probably Berkeley.
Berkeley for sure. Yeah,
Okay, well we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's quite interesting. That yeah, in recent years, yeah, most students actually go for Berkeley or UCLA. That's normally most people's top choice, but
Hmm.
both are fantastic. So, first of all, your GPA is fantastic. Uh,
Thank you.
really, really, really impressive. Was there any magic ingredient in there that helped you get 4.0? Because everybody dreams about getting 4.0, and when I tell people,
Hmm.
they say it's impossible. Uh,
Hmm.
so is there anything particular you'd suggest that helps? Any tips? Any study
Hmm.
methods? Anything that would help people?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think you just gotta put in the effort. Effort is really important because a lot of the classes aren't that challenging for first year at least. And effort as in like put in the hard work to study, but also asking for help. There's a lot of great resources around in school and also with the advisors. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And I always ask for help for the like math center in school, and it helped me a lot with my exams and stuff. Yeah. And for extracurricular activities, like I am actually one of the co-founder clubs of the CSM AI club in our school. Yeah, and I also did some internships when I went back to China. Yeah.
Okay, so you actually founded the club
Yeah.
with some others. Wow.
hmm
Wow, that's quite fantastic. So basically, they didn't have an AI club before then. That's interesting.
Yeah, no. There was a computer science club, but no AI club. Yeah.
Okay, great. And you're going to carry on with that into the second year, I'm assuming. And then you have to
hmm
pass on to someone else when you transfer, basically.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. How many members do you have now?
We have like 10, 15, maybe like 10-ish that's like constantly or like recurring members. So yeah, we're still growing.
That's great. That's
Mhm.
great. And the experience of founding a club must have been very helpful. So actually, the college is open to students founding their own clubs if it's not available, basically.
Yeah, they're actually quite they encourage these type of stuff and it's actually quite fun to apply for it and see how it works inside the college.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we covered this already, really, but anything else you'd like to share for, future students? Any other pieces of advice or because a lot of people come in and they get very excited, and most students, the first year is very important for getting a good score, obviously. So do you have any advice for students to help them for the first year to make sure they do well?
hmm yeah, I think another really good thing that it's not directly correlated to having a good grade, but I think definitely help is to fit in the environment better. Because I think the sooner you get used to like this environment and the schedule and like the people around there, the better you're gonna fit into your study plans. Like for example, one of the biggest things like that is different is that professors they really encourage you to have conversations with them. Like they really encourage you to go find them in office hours. Where from my high school experience is kind of different. They're not as helpful, I'd say. So yeah, once you get used to how they do things around here, it's really helpful for you to, also like work with that and then use that to your advantage.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. So that's quite interesting. I've heard other students have said the same thing. The professors are actually quite helpful and willing to engage.
Yeah.
Uh, when you go to big universities like the Berkeleys and the UCLAs, I think it's slightly different.
Yeah. 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 Because I've heard stories of like, those professors are doing research for like Nobel Prizes. They're not going to teach you how to do calculus questions.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
do run the calculus class, but they're not going to necessarily
Yeah.
be so interested in discussing
Yeah.
that particular day session, are they? That's quite interesting. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, and how do you feel about the University Bridge community? Like, have you made friends? You've obviously mixed together. Does it help to have friends, international students together as a community? I'm sure it does, because I think one of the challenges that students used to have in community colleges was there's a lot of local students, but they go home at weekends or they're not around so much. So it's quite nice to have that community.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I met very good friends in the program. And I think it's also easier to connect with international students because you have more in common and likely your experience is also the same. And with one of my roommates now, we're actually going to move out together. So it's also good to find, a partner that you can like live together and to help each other out. Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's important.
okay, that's great. That's great. Um, okay. Thank you so much, Kevin. That's really helpful.
Thank you.
We will take questions now. I'm sure people do have burning questions. So you're very welcome to ask us a question. You can either, we don't have too many people on the call today, so you can speak it out or you can type it in the chat. Yeah. type your questions in the chat. This is when nobody asks any questions.
Yeah.
Too shy. Everyone's thinking, or alternatively, you could look at it another way and say, we did a fantastic job. We covered everything people want to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the positive side, right?
Yeah, we should see it that way.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
This is Chris. Yeah. Uh, I have a question. Do you find it hard to, change from the IGCSE system to the US system? And because some people would say it's kind of tough for IGCSE students to study in the US.
hmm well, not necessarily, but also kinda. Because well, at the end of the day, the constants are the same, the subject constants are the same, and the only thing that changes is how they teach it and the methods of teaching, which I think it just takes some time to get used to it. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
It's good to hear that because uh, that will, make our potential IGCSE students more comfortable.
Oh
And
yeah.
also with the support from our advisor, I think
Mhm.
yeah, we can make them more confident when they study in the
Mhm.
US. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
But Kevin, you must be excited about the start of term. Not long now. When
Yeah.
you actually start again.
Yeah. Yeah. Not sure how I'm gonna feel about it because I'm gonna take a lot more and harder classes this semester, but yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be fine. You've got a good start after year one. That really helps.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, obviously it's a big semester this time because you apply for the transfer. There's quite a lot of, and then you've got
Yeah.
to do all the higher level classes. So that's exciting. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for you. We hope in a
Thank
year's time to talk to you again and hear about hopefully a Berkeley and a UCLA offer. That would be a nice,
you.
wouldn't it? That would
That'll
be
be great. Yeah.
a nice choice. I used to always find with a lot of University Bridge students, they sometimes would get both offers. And then sometimes, very interestingly, they wouldn't choose either one. They'd choose
Oh
UC
wow.
San Diego or something else. It's quite interesting. Or
Maybe
you
they like it better there.
well, yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's a matter of choice because UCLA is a great campus, so is UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
There's no question. It doesn't actually, I'd say it doesn't matter which one you choose in a way.
Yeah. It's, yeah. It's all just personal preference at the end of the day.
Yeah. So you'd rather stay Northern California, I guess. You
Yeah.
prefer
hmm hmm
that makes sense.
Hi, Kevin. I do have
Hi.
another question. I think people here may want to know more about CSM,
hmm
the whole campus, all the
hmm
activities. Yeah, how you think the education.
hmm Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the you know, I wouldn't say prejudice, but some people might think community colleges are not that well funded, but CSM is like really well funded. Like the facilities are really new, campus is pretty big as well, and they got like a gym, which is basically free if you go like 15 times per month, and they also got like badminton courses, swimming pools, and yeah, it's just really nice facility.
Okay, that's great.
Mhm.
That's great. How are your professors?
Well, some of them are good. I mean, mo most of them are good. Yeah, it's just like that one or two. Maybe it's not. It's just uh, you either love them or you hate them type of professors. Yeah. But yeah, most of them are really helpful. They're really helpful during office hours, and they're also pretty good at.
That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm going to give a countdown. Five, four, three, two, one. We launch the spaceship. Okay. In that case, we'll wrap up today. Kevin, a massive thank you. Wishing you all the best going into year two.
Thank you.
Keep in touch. Let us know how everything goes. And everybody else, thank you so much for joining us. Anyone who's listening people can still apply for this fall intake, but it would probably have to be online unless people have a visa or a US green card at the moment. Because recently, a lot of people have been trying to apply last minute, and the difficulty is two things. One's the visa, two's the accommodation, because the accommodation is quite late in the day. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, thank you so much to Kevin, and thank you to everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Happy Tuesday or Monday for Kevin.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.